5.09, factoring when a does not equal 1. So the previous assignment, we were doing factoring of problems like this. And we haven't really talked about it, but our a in this problem is 1. What that means is the coefficient of our first term is 1. We're going to today be labeling each of these coefficients as a, b, and c. So in this first question, our a value would be 1, our b value is -6, and our c value would be -27. Let's go through and factor them first. So our a is in fact 1, we know that now. We're going to go into our box, and I'm going to introduce something new today. So this term goes in our first box, our last term goes in our bottom right box. And today, I'd like us all to do a big X. In the top of our big X, we'll do, it's A times C, not B. A times C, and down here will be our B value. So our A is 1, our C is -27. So A times C would equal -27. And in our bottom down here is our B value, which is just -6. Now what we need to do is create a factor tree of -27. So we have 1 times 27. 2 does not go into it. 3 does. It goes into it 9 times. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 all do not go into 27. So we're good there. Now what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and add these numbers up to get to -6. Because our value up here is negative, we know one of these numbers needs to be negative. So let's make our first numbers negative. -1 times 27 equals -27. When you add them up, we get 26. That does not equal -6. -3 plus 9 equals +6. Also does not equal -6. So instead of having the first numbers negative, we'll make the second numbers negative. And when we do that, all that's happening is this number changes negative and negative, and now we have recognized that we have -6 and -6. So our two numbers that we care about are 3 and -9. Those will go here. They also go into this box over here with an X behind it and an X behind that. Now our last step is to factor out. I like to go up, so we're going to be doing -9x and x squared. Remember, the coefficient in front of our x squared is 1. So the number we can pull out of both 1 and -9 is just 1. And we have 1x down here, and we have 2 x's up here, so we can only pull out 1x. Now, we should know this by now. This 1 and that 1 are not needed to write. But they do exist there. Once we get that, we're going to be doing x times what equals x squared, just x. Then x times what equals 3x, missing a 3, a +3. And then +3 times what equals -27, that would be -9. And we can check -9 times x does equal -9x. So we have our two factors, our binomials, it's x plus 3 times x minus 9. Okay, let's do the review over here. Let me erase this work real quick. So if you remember from last week, whenever we have two terms, we're missing the middle term, the b term, it's quite simple. All we need to do is look at this number and square root 81, which equals 9. Then we create our two parentheses, x and 9, x and 9, and one is positive and one is negative. That's it. Okay, remember we have two terms. See if you can square root this number. If you can, it's just plus and minus that number. Okay, model A, factor each expression by finding the greatest common factor. So we want to look at these three terms and see what we can pull out. We have 4x to the 4, 2x squared, and minus 8x to the 1. Look at the coefficients first, the 4, the 2, and the -8. Those are all even, so we can pull out a 2. We also have 4 x's, 2 x's, and 1 x. So we can pull out 1 x, and then we see what we were missing. So 2x times what equals 4x to the 4. We're missing a 2, and we have 1x here. We need to get to 4, so we're missing 3. Then 2x again times what equals 2x squared plus 2 times 1 is 2. And then we have 1x, we need 2, so we have x to the 1. And 2x times what is -8x, that is simply -4. Let's do the u try together. So same thing. What number can we pull out of all these things? 3, 6, and 12. We can pull a 3 out. And also, whenever our first term is negative, pull that out as well. And going through the list, we have 5, 3, and 1x. So we can only pull out 1. And what's left over? -3x to the 1 times what equals -3x to the 5. We are missing 4 x's. -3 times what equals -6. That's +2. And we're missing 2 x's. And finally, -3 times what equals -12. That is +4. And we're missing no x's. So we are done.